Hey team, today's video I wanted to go over just some ideas and strategies, tactics that I think you should be thinking about if you're aiming for running a 3-hour, 30-minute marathon time. And anybody that's trying to run 3:29:59 for the marathon has to maintain 8 minutes per mile, you know, or that comes out to 4 minutes and 58 seconds per kilometer for 42.2 kilometers. So as you all know, the marathon is not a 5K, it's not a 10K or 2 mile. There's so much involved in order to run a great marathon time, especially an elite time like this. I think really anybody that's run under 3 hours and 30 minutes, you're starting to get in that realm of runners that very few runners around the world run under 3 hours and 30 minutes. When you think of all the runners that are out there, millions and millions of athletes training to break this barrier, there's nothing easy about it. You know, and I've experienced setbacks in the marathon myself as well. You have to be consistent, you have to believe in what you're doing, and you have to be strategic in how you set up your training. You do not want to run long, slow, and easy long runs every single weekend training for a marathon. If you want to run a 3:29:59, then you have to get 8-minute mile pace to feel more like 9-minute mile pace, or 4:58 kilometer pace to feel more like 6-minute kilometer pace. How do you do that? You do that by consistent training over preferably a 16 to 20 week buildup. The longer you can prepare for the marathon, the better. Okay, if you're trying to prepare properly for the marathon distance and run a time this fast, doing it in 8 weeks is very difficult. I mean, the shorter amount of time you're trying to prepare for a marathon, the more that's going to be required out of you. And a lot of times, athletes that are trying to rush their fitness, you know, miss their goals, and then they start to second guess themselves. Well, a question I always ask athletes is, how much time did you build up for that marathon? You know, what was your longest long run? Was it 12 miles? Was it 15 miles? What percentage of your weekly volume were you running at sub 3 hour, 30-minute marathon pace? You know, was it 5%? You know, that's far too little. You know, a big issue that a lot of runners have is pace sustainment. They have problems holding goal sub 3 hour, 30-minute marathon race pace for the full distance. Sure, they're able to do it for 10 miles or 16 kilometers, or maybe 20 out, you know, even further out, 25 to 30 kilometers. But then during that, once they make it past 18 miles, they really have a hard time sustaining race pace, and they start slowing down significantly, or they're forced to stop. And I've been there too, so I fully understand. You know, when I talk, you know, make these videos, trust me, I didn't just get the 2:19:35 for the marathon. I've had a lot of failures too. You know, my slowest marathon I ever ran in my life was 3 hours and 5 minutes, and I had several issues with that. I've run in the 240s several times, 250s, 230s several times, broke 230 once, broke 220 once. So I've had ups and downs, and I understand how difficult the marathon is. So you have to pay attention to the biggest takeaways I want you to keep in mind regarding this video is spending a higher percentage of your weekly volume training at or closer to your goal marathon race pace. Now, the training plans and the running courses that I teach, I even have a sub 3 hour, 30-minute marathon course that I've built for athletes trying to run 3:29:59, where I discuss these issues in depth. You want to alternate faster, varied pace long runs every other week during your buildup. You know, the training plans and the running courses that I have on RunDreamAchieve.com, we focus on this. You do not want to run long, slow, and easy every single weekend. You know, again, you're trying to run a very fast marathon time, 8-minute mile pace for 26.2 miles, or 4:58 kilometer pace for 42.2 straight kilometers. Takes an enormous amount of not only mental strength but physiological adaptation. You had to have trained properly, you had to have tapered down. We focus on a 10-day taper rather than a 3-week taper. So you keep training up until 10 days out from your main marathon. You know, one tactic I use that has helped a lot of marathoners that follow my plans, one is, you know, Eric Hogg, if you're watching this, you know, Eric had a personal best of 3:46, and he dropped his marathon time down to 2:58. You know, this is a family man, he's working a full-time job, never envisioned himself becoming a sub 3 hour marathoner. Recently reached out to me, said he followed the sub 3 hour marathon pro course that I created. and dropped his marathon from 3:46 to 2:58. So you can drop a ton of time in the marathon if you set up your training properly. Don't try to, again, don't try to rush your fitness. It's going to take time to build up. You have to build up preferably a 4 to 6 week buildup of easy, relaxed base mileage, aerobic base mileage, before you start implementing speed training, hill repetitions, fartlek workouts. So focus on that first. And again, 16 to 20 weeks is the optimal amount of time to prepare properly for a sub 3 hour, 30-minute marathon. The types of workouts, doing a VO2 max workouts once per week, training at paces that are significantly faster than an 8-minute mile pace or 4:58 kilometer pace. Early on when you're not as, anaerobically fit, you may focus on doing your repeat 400s. The types of workouts I do for the marathon is, anywhere from 12 to 20 400-meter repetitions. I would focus more on around 143 when you're not as anaerobically fit, 143 to 145 per rep. And then when you become very, very fit, focusing more on around 137 to 140 per rep. Giving yourself less rest when you're very fit, obviously, and more rest when you're not as anaerobically fit. So that might mean 2 minutes rest early on, and then 60 seconds rest when you're very fit and very ready for the marathon. Doing 1 mile repetitions. Again, early on when you're not very fit, that might be doing repeat miles on the track, 5 to 6 1 mile repetitions at around 7 minutes and 20 seconds per mile, with 4 minutes recovery with each rep, after each rep. And then as you become very fit and you're later on in your build-up, those 1 mile repetitions might be around 6:55 per rep, with 2 minutes recovery between each repetition. So again, it's about focusing on periodization, focusing on 3 to 4 week sections during that 16 to 20 week buildup, and then again continuing to remind your legs of what you're training them to do, which is again sustain 8-minute mile pace or 4:58 kilometer pace up until 10 days out. So we don't start dropping intensity, we don't start dropping volume until 10 days out from the main marathon race. The last workout you'll do, focus on the running courses and the training plans I've created. We focus on doing a 5K or 3 mile run 4 days out from your main marathon at goal marathon race pace. So that's a 3 mile run at 8-minute mile pace or 4:58 in your case. So again, workouts are going to vary. Some weeks they're fartlek workouts. They might be 20 minutes of 1 minute hard, 1 minute easy, so 40 minutes of fartlek early on in the build-up. Later on, you might see a workout where it might be 60 minutes of 1 minute hard, 1 minute easy. And during that 1 minute hard, it might be running at 6:55 to 7-minute mile pace. During the 1 mile easy, it might be running at around 8:20 to 8:30 mile pace. So it's just slightly slower than goal marathon race pace. And it's going to depend on your overall fitness and how you're feeling. Early on, we don't just jump into that type of training. We don't just jump into doing 1 mile repetitions at 6:45 to 6:55 per rep early on. So again, you allot sufficient time for the body to adapt and continue to train hard up until 10 days out. A big mistake I think a lot of marathoners are making is they start dropping volume and intensity 3 weeks out from the main marathon, and then they wonder why they go into the race feeling tired or they felt flat in the race. A lot of times it's just because you started dropping volume and you started resting too soon rather than waiting up until just a few days, 10 days out from your main marathon race. A lot of times athletes that do this will start to hit significant personal best. I set PRs anywhere from the 5K all the way up to the marathon distance using a 10-day taper. So I always stress that for athletes and especially in your case, if you're trying to run a marathon under 3 hours, run a 3 hour, 30-minute marathon time, it's going to take thinking outside the box. It's going to take thinking about training longer rather than a short amount of time, because again, if you train longer for your marathon, you're not going to be in so much of a rush to get in great shape. You're going to allow sufficient time for your body to build that aerobic base first so that your joints, your tendons, your ligaments are strong and ready to start doing track sessions, doing tempo runs. If you want to run a sub 3 hour 30-minute marathon, you have to run longer tempo runs as well. A 3 to 4 mile tempo run is great if you're training for the 5K or 10K, but if you're training for the half marathon or marathon, my recommendation is to start thinking about spending a longer duration of time training at your anaerobic threshold, because you're going to be racing at this effort or right around it. So in my own build-up to the point where I could, run under a 2 hour 20-minute marathon, I focus on doing tempo runs anywhere from around at a minimum of 8 miles out to around 14 to 15 miles. And that takes time, patience on the part of the athlete to build up to that point. So first focus on 3 to 4 miles first, the first few weeks. And then as your training builds up and you become more anaerobically fit, then we start focusing on gradually extending the amount of time the athlete is training at their anaerobic threshold. So that's how the mindset and philosophy around the training plans I've created in the running courses, we think long term. We're not thinking about trying to just rush into great fitness, because it just doesn't work that way. You don't start doing fartlek training and speed workouts the first few weeks of a build-up. You first focus on your aerobic base foundation, base mileage first, doing strides twice per week, once or twice per week, 5 to 6 100-meter strides. Again, any type of anaerobic workouts, strides are very short. You're not going to build up any significant lactic acid, so you can still focus on doing strides. But the concept behind doing strides, the way I think, is you're spending several miles, several kilometers over a 16 to 20 week marathon buildup at sprint paces. Okay, that's powerful because you're doing strides on top of your weekly training. On top of that, so strides will help you to focus on form. It'll help you to stay relaxed, at submaximal effort. And doing those speed workouts, the VO2 max workouts, 1 mile repetitions, 3 2-mile repetitions on the track, or doing like 3 to 4 5K reps on the roads at your half marathon race pace. Okay, there's a concept behind that. Again, we don't just build into that. But again, the key is to run at faster than goal sub 3 hour 30-minute marathon race pace, so that you get that race pace to feel more manageable. You slow down less than your competition, you improve your body's lactate tolerance, and you're able to sustain pace longer and more effectively than your competition. Focus on your hydration. Make sure that during your long runs you have those water bottles put out every 3 miles during that long run. Make sure you're hydrating well after that long run and getting a Cliff Bar, a Power Bar, fruits and vegetables. Make sure you're replacing that glycogen that you lost during those long runs in you. Preferably at a minimum 30 minutes after that long run. Make sure you're focusing on all the other fundamentals that go into running a great marathon time. Proper sleep. Make sure you're do the very best you can to get a minimum of 8 hours of sleep a night. And then focus on your nutrition, obviously, as well, is critical. Look up and study as much as you can on glutathione. It's the body's master antioxidant. Very few runners know anything about it. If you're feeling fatigued for a long period of time, you feel like it's a chronic issue that you're having, consider getting a blood test and find out what your ferritin level, your ferritin iron levels are. Okay. Back in 2007, I was diagnosed with anemia. I didn't know anything in terms of how low iron levels in the body can affect athletic performance. If you run low on iron or ferritin, which is a component of iron, your body's, in terms of your cellular health and your cell's ability to deliver oxygenated blood throughout your body, is drastically diminished. It doesn't matter how motivated you are, you're not going to perform well. You're not going to be able to sustain paces for long periods of time. You're going to feel tired and fatigued all the time. So consider getting a blood test and make sure to have the physician check your ferritin and iron levels. We lose iron through sweat and through foot strike hemolysis. So that's just something to keep in mind as well as you build up for your marathon. So if you've ever had issues in the past, consider that. Yeah, for now, this is, I hope these, the sub 3 hour, 30-minute marathon, these strategies and tactics, is going to be helpful for you, feel free to leave me a comment below any of my videos. Definitely check out the resources below this channel or below this video, and those are there for you as well to help take you to the next level. Share this video, like it. I really appreciate that as well. It helps the channel grow. More athletes around the world to see these videos. And if there's anything else I can do for you all as you prepare for this sub 3:30 marathon, feel free to reach out to me anytime. You all know I always respond to your comments. So I wish you all the best in your quest for that sub 3:30 marathon time, and I look forward to hearing about 3:29, 59 or faster marathon time that you run. So I wish you all the best, and I'll talk to you all in the next video.